we've watched this Quinnipiac poll. I think it was at, it's gone down from 49 to 37 and now down to 33% over time. There is no stopping this. I mean, what is Joe Biden's basement? What's the floor here for him? How low can he go?
You know what the crazy part is, John? His numbers are actually worse than what that poll is showing us. And don't get me wrong, his numbers are really, really bad in that poll. But that poll, their sample, is only 26% Republican. We all know on Election Day that Republicans last time in 2020 were basically at 36% of the vote. So they're undersampling Republicans, and his numbers are still through the floor. And when you look at this, among independents, he's got a 57% disapproval. What does he have to do? If I was him, I'd apologize to the American public for causing all these problems with our economy, jobs, skyrocketing crime, record deficits, open borders. And I go back to the Donald Trump policies that work for the country. That's his problem. He's moved. It's not even a question of moving left. He's become a radical. And that's really, really hurting him. And now, after the Afghanistan debacle, that made him incompetent. And the same thing on COVID. So these are all the issues he said he was going to solve for us. He not only hasn't solved them, he's made them worse.
Now, on that issue of division and the worsening political climate in this country, I wanted to talk to you about this because we've been paying close attention to how the GOP leadership is using language regarding January 6th and the January 6th committee. Kevin McCarthy recently rejected a, quote, illegitimate call for testimony from the panel who is abusing power. And also we have Senator Mitch McConnell recently referring to the left's Jeff Davis, Bull Connor racism rhetoric on the voting legislation as the big lie. But of course, that's still not enough for President Trump. Here's what he said on NPR recently about Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell is a loser. And frankly, Mitch McConnell, if he were on the other side and if Schumer were put in his position, he would have been fighting this like you've never seen before.
Now, President Trump is going to continue to talk about this. He's going to continue to talk about 2020. Obviously, there has to be some defense on 1/6 here. But this type of talk, like calling Mitch McConnell a loser, what does this do to the GOP in the year 2022 where we're facing these critical midterms?
Look, the real focus, and we all know this, it needs to be focused on the failed Biden agenda. And a lot of that stuff, that's inside baseball in Washington. What Americans are really concerned about, they're not, most people, we'll admit January 6th was not a great day in American history. But what are they worried about right now? They're worried about inflation, the economy, jobs, skyrocketing crime. And they're looking at the Republicans right now that have the best issue agenda, that you're getting candidates, you're getting Republican candidates across the country. They're coming from out of the woodwork, looking to run. You see somebody like David McCormick, who just announced in Pennsylvania, he's a great candidate. And there's candidates like that all over the country right now that are looking to run, and they're going to run on President Trump's agenda, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see Mitch McConnell, you see Kevin McCarthy kind of adopting some of the same language, witch hunt, illegitimate, that type of stuff. It makes me wonder, though, I think you're right. This is not what the American public cares about, but they do care that Democrats are focused on it, and that almost, motivates them in a way. Say, focus on the issues we really care about, the stuff you just talked about. We also have Senator Lindsey Graham just saying that Mitch McConnell must make amends with President Trump if he wants to lead the GOP. I mean, everything looks like it's going well for the GOP, but if they are divided like this, and you have Mitch McConnell and Trump and other folks and all this infighting, those losses could be mitigated. I mean, the victory could be mitigated.
I can tell you this right now. I make a living every day talking to voters. And Republican voters across the country, they are not divided. They are united. And they are united, and they want to defeat the crazy, radical Biden big government agenda that is failing them right now. And you brought it up. When the president went and made that speech in Georgia, by the way, the day after your dogs won the national championship, the last thing in the world that folks in Georgia wanted to be heard, they didn't want to hear about politics. No. And then he goes and calls people that disagree with him on a very important issue. He calls them racist, domestic enemies, bigots, the segregationists. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that the American people don't want to hear right now. And that number that you pointed out at the beginning of the segment, where most Americans believe that he's dividing the country, not uniting us, that's why this kind of rhetoric is backfiring on him. That's why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are so unpopular in America right now, because they've shown no ability to bring Americans together.